Today's Trails of Nomads episode presents: why was the capital of the Turkic Khaganate, Orda-Balyk, erected on the right bank of the Orkhan River? How did scientists prove that the inscriptions on the ancient tombstones of the Kok Turks were made in the Kipchak language? Why Mongol Balbals do not have a head? In 2017, the Trails of Nomads scientific expedition, pursuing responsible mission, traveled from Astana to Paris and visited more than 20 countries of the world. Scientists have unveiled many blank spots in history, told the descendants about rich heritage left by their ancestors. A year earlier, the expedition explored a number of regions of Kazakhstan as well as neighboring Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Mongolia. Today's episode is devoted to that trip, the first stop of which was Mongolia.
Bizim tarihimiz ama Saq zamanı başladı.
Our history begins with the distant Saka era. Many monuments located in Mongolia are associated with our ancestors. This is the period of the Huns, the first and second Turkic Khaganates, and the third united Turkic Khaganate. There are more than 100 sacred places which can tell about many things. There are also more than 1,000 tombstones. These are also important historical sources of information for scientists. During the trip to Mongolia, a well-known specialist in Turkic philology, Professor Joly, joined the team of expedition scientists. He's a person who knows about the Turks almost everything. A scientist looking for example at a tombstone or other historical monument can tell a lot. He literally reads information from the source. A highly qualified specialist provided invaluable assistance in the work of the expedition. This area is called Hanui Valley. This is the place where our ancestors lived. Therefore, there are enough historical monuments. Barrows with cairns resemble burial ground in the East Kazakhstan region. The Saka-Hunik tribes lived here in the period from the 10th to the 3rd centuries BC.
Осы скиптердің қалдырған мына үлкен қорғандарының шетінде үлкен ұсындар бар. Сол ұсынның үстінде
drawings of the sun, the moon, were found in the Scythian burial mounds. There are also images of animals, deer. Now there are about 500 ancient burial mounds in these parts.
Қазір тек осы үлкен жазираның өзінде бір 400-500-дей осындай үлкен қорғандар сақталып отыр.
The depth of the mounds in the Hanui Valley reaches 25 meters. During 3 years, Mongolian scientists excavated the area. Their work brought great results. They found a huge number of valuable exhibits. A special book was published after their discoveries. In general, similar monuments of the Sakas and Huns are found on the vast territory, from Manchuria to Danube.
Көшпелілер бүгін міне Монголияда, ертең Қазақстанда, бүрсі күні Солонгыста, Korea.
Our ancestors led a nomadic life in the vast territory of Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Korea, and Germany. Therefore, they actively participated in all the process of the formation of human civilization. Sakas were one of those who laid the foundations of statehood. Chinese historian of the early Han Dynasty confirms the fact that the Saka tribes laid the foundation of the first state. He wrote about this in his manuscripts. He calls the Saka Xia and the Chinese Xiahu. The scientist claims that the Sakas were the first who created cities and the state. He also mentioned the ties between the Chinese and Sakas. The German and French scientists and Turkic scholars are unanimous in the opinion that it was the Sakas who built the first city on the bank of the Wei River. The city had the same name as the river. It was the gateway to the middle part of China. Later, the Sakas helped the neighbors form a state. Kok Turks were successors of the Sakas. They led a similar way of life. More than a century ago, there was a city called Orda-Balyk on this place. It is the capital founded by the Böhmen Khagan in 552. According to German and Mongolian researchers, the territory of Orda-Balyk city was 55 square kilometers. At that time, there were no such big cities anywhere.
қаланың қағаны сол Мұхан қағанның дәуірінен басталған.
The city was flourishing during the reign of Mukan Khagan. He ruled the Turks from 553 to 572 years. He was a very famous, authoritative, and wise ruler. In addition, the Khagan had excellent physical training, a very strong body. His weight was almost 2 meters.
денесі бір 2 метрдің дәрежесінде, сосын алып адам болған өзі.
The city of Orda-Balyk is located in central Mongolia on the right bank of the Orkhon River. In early times, according to the traditions, a person was buried on the left bank of the river. People built tombs and temples, which can be found in the ancient cities of Jetasu. For example, the Golden Man was found on the left bank of the Issyk River. Thus, this tradition dates back to the Sakahon period.
шығысында Орхон өзенінен басталады. Бер жағында
In the east, the city rested against the Orkhon River. The vast territory of Orda-Balyk was almost entirely in the gardens. There was a huge amount of fruit trees here. Now there is nothing left from the orchards.
жаңағы жастары сол бақша орманның ішінде кәдімгі жүретін болған. бәрі құрыды. Қазір мынау осы орнына ғана қалып тұр.
Some scientists claim that the city of Orda-Balyk was built during the Uyghur Khaganate period. However, this is an erroneous assumption. The artifacts found in this area confirm it. In 1948-1949, the Mongolian scientist Hodod Damdini Parle and the famous Russian archaeologist Kiselev conducted excavations on the site of the ancient city. A huge amount of pottery of Su period, dated to the 6th century, was found here. These findings confirm the fact that the city of Orda-Balyk was founded by the Kok Turks.
Біз тұрған жері мынау ханның резиденциясының қорғаны. Кезінде мынау
Now we are in the place where the external fortifications of the ruler's residence located. The height of the fortress reached 16 meters. With each year, these walls are getting lower due to the influence of external natural factors. Now their height is about 10 meters. Here was the place where they kept weapons and ammunition. This is the main gate, was the entrance to the city. On the other side, there was the second secret entrance. Only the ruler knew about it.
Ол құпия дарбаза деді. Онымен тек қан ғана кіретін болады.
According to Orkhon manuscripts, there were 5 Turkic cities in Mongolia. They are Orda-Balyk, Togo-Balyk, Magi-Korgan, Otuken-Balyk, and Yazganti-Kadaz. They are often mentioned in Chinese written sources. One of them says the 5th century of our era. In the Altai Mountains, the cities of the Turks are located. The doors of the ruler's residence are facing east. There is a historical continuity. After all, the Kazakhs also set the doors in the yurts from the eastern and southeastern sides. This once again proves that the Turks are the direct ancestors of the Kazakhs. In the works of Russian and European scholars in the Arab-Persian manuscripts, the ethnonym Kipchak has been used since the 9th century. Everyone believes that the Kipchaks appeared at this time. In fact, the Kipchaks appeared in the historical arena much earlier. After all, it was they who formed the Gok-Turk Khaganate and were its rulers, beginning with the Bugan Khagan. All subsequent Khans were Kipchaks, including Kultigin and Ozbin Khagan. Of course, the great empire cannot be formed only by one tribe. In Chinese and Orkhon's manuscripts, it is said that the Kipchaks initially merged with the Oghuz from Altai. However, even such a strong alliance was not able to defeat the powerful Rouran Khaganate, which at that time had 150 years of history and experience. Then the Kipchaks had to strengthen their power even more due to the Uysens, who roamed then between Jetasu and Urumqi. And only after this, the Kipchaks, Oghuz, and Uysen, joining forces, were able to defeat the Rouran Khaganate. In 552, the Gok-Turk Empire was formed. Despite the fact that all the tribes made an equal contribution to the common victory, nevertheless, the Kipchak state led the campaign. A new monument of the Turks has a symbolism in the form of a mountain goat. Why is that? Because they worshipped Tengri and considered a mountain goat, which lives high in the mountains and is closest to the sky, the messenger of God. Therefore, the mountain goat was also a symbol of the state and a Kipchak symbol. And the Kipchak symbol was one for all Turks. The inscriptions on tombstones dating back to the era of the Turks were made in the Kipchak language. This was proved by the scientist Turkologist Joly as a result of a 30-year expedition. According to him, the ancient Turkic writing appeared along with the notion of private property. This is due to the tradition of making marks on livestock to put a brand. Gradually, this business developed and passed into various signs and inscriptions. The full written language appeared in 552-565 with Mukan Kagan. In general, Mukan Kagan introduced many changes in the life of the Turks. He conducted tax, administrative, religious, written reforms. With him, the traditions of worshipping the god Tengri were renewed. In particular, there were special places for worship, which were called Baryk.
бірінші түрік қағанатын мұқан қағанына дейін Өтөкен тауының батыс жағындағы
Even before Mukan Kagan of the First Turkic Khanate, the Turks went to Ushemshek mountain, which was located to the west of Otoken mountain, and worshipping God there, performed a sacrifice. The tribesmen were very numerous. Sometimes they did not fit in the place of worship. Therefore, Mukan Kagan instructed to open special places for worship. Thanks to the reforms of Mukan Kagan, ancient Turkic writing and culture have reached our times. Monuments to such outstanding personalities as Kultigan, Bilge, Tonikok were erected with complexes for worship. Stone sculptures have become a good tool for historical continuity. The monument of Kutluk Kagan depicts him holding a staff. The same staff was held by the Kazakh Khans, beginning with Jibek and Kere and Kenesare. It is an attribute of power. This tradition dates back to the Huns, and there are many examples of such similarities.
Білге қағанның кешенін қазған кезде ғибадатхана ішінде Білге қағанның
During the excavations of the Bilge Kagan complex, we found sculptures of the Bilge Kagan and his wife Kuten in the worship room. In front of them, there was a granite table with a silver bowl. A sheep was placed in it with a head on the top. I was surprised after all, because now the Kazakhs present the head of a sheep to respect guests. I've seen similar things in China. That is, our ancestors lived near China in the region of eastern Turkestan. It turns out that the tradition of presenting a meat of sheep with its head to the respected people comes from the Sakas. To establish tombstones with inscriptions on the graves of outstanding personalities is a tradition that has been going on since the Saka tribe. However, no one can answer for sure for what purpose they put such stone sculptures. Stone sculptures made by the ancestors were discovered in large numbers during the journey of the Trails of Nomads scientific expedition in 2017 to Europe.
Байлықтың, жетістіктің, бейбітшілік өмірдің символ сияқты.
Stone women are a symbol of prosperity, achievements, and peaceful life. Such sculptures were erected for heroically lost soldiers and commanders. There are a lot of such monuments in the Eurasian space, from Altai and to the Danube. You can find thousands and thousands of such balbals.
Kipchak елінде мың-мыңдаған балбалдарды кездестіруге болады.
The balbals in the steppes of Mongolia were created without heads. The main reason for the appearance of such sculptures was the preaching of Buddhism. According to the experts of this religion, if such stone statues have a human head, Jute will enter the steppe. Obviously, such a policy was directed against Tengrism. As a result of these provocative moves, many cultural values were destroyed. Only a monument to Kultigan Batyr was preserved. It is stored in the National Museum of Mongolia. This hall of the National Museum of Mongolia is dedicated to the Turks. Most of the exhibits are original. For example, this is the upper part of the monument of Kultigan Batyr. There are a lot of gold and silver jewelry and products of the Turks. The National Museum of Mongolia stores many household items and products of the Sakas and Huns. For example, this carpet refers to the era of the Huns. This already shows a lot. That is, our ancestors, as many think, did not always lead nomadic life. They were the basis of society, which made a great contribution to the formation of the entire human civilization. At one time, the Sakas and Huns made many technological revolutions, surprising the whole world. This musical instrument is another proof of this.
Алтайдың жарғын қайырхан деп аталады, бақыт қайырхан деген таудың үңгірінен табылған. Ол аспапты табылғаннан кейін моңғолдар Германияға жіберген. Германдар бұл аспапты 4 жыл ұстап отырып, ең соңында бұған реконструкция жасаған.
It was found in Altai, in the Bakit Kayarkhan cave. The Mongols sent the instrument for research to Germany. Dombra was almost 4 years there. It was reconstructed. However, they did not take into account the psychology of nomads. The instrument, for example, was no longer adapted to carry it on horseback. In addition, jewelry was added in the form of horns of a mountain goat. The number of strings is up to 8. All this, of course, is unacceptable. After all, the nomads, our ancestors, did not have such a musical instrument. An exact copy of the ancient instrument is kept in Astana in the Tilep Kobe's palace. Musicians of the Kok Turkic ensemble demonstrated the sounds of the ancient dombra.
Бұл 5-ші ғасырда жасалған домбыраның көшірмесі. Мұнда жазылған көне түрік жазуымен жұпар күй бізді үлкен сезімге бөлейді.
This is a copy of the dombra made in the 5th century. It is written here that Q gives us better feelings. And here, there are 3 holes. There is a reasonable question, why 3? When Joly Khan died on the hunt, it was necessary to inform Genghis Khan about this. One of the close associates of Joly Khan, Kipchak, decided to do this. Genghis Khan, hearing the tragic news, ordered to pour the mouth of the one who would bring this message. Then Kipchak gave his dombra to the executioners. Lead was poured into it. That's how 3 holes of the dombra turned into 1.
Жан-жағы кеңейіп, үлкен тесікке айналған екен. Міне бұл аңыз енді.
Mongolia has a huge number of historical monuments, from the era of the ancient Saka to the period of the Kazakh Khanate. Studying them, scientists from different countries interpret the events that took place here in different ways. It does not go without politics. Of course, Kazakhs, whose ancestors for many centuries roamed here and were part of history, should not stand aside. Their descendants need to study the legacy left behind. This is an important task. It cannot be delayed.
Түрік қағанаты, олары сөйлеген сол өзінде Кипчак диалектісінде. Өзі түрік тілі 2 диалектіге бөлінеді. Кипчак диалектісі, Оғыз диалектісі.
In the Turkic Kaghanate, people spoke the Kipchak dialect. In general, the Turkic language is divided into 2 dialects, Kipchak and Oghuz. At that time, the Turkic tribes inhabiting Mongolia spoke the Kipchak dialect. The tombstone of Moinshor Kagan of the 3rd unified Turkic Kaghanate was an inscription. Kipchaks led us 50 years, and so it was 10 times. 50 to 10 means 500 years. Therefore, we know if this is 751, we must return 500 years ago. It turns out that in 250 years, Kipchak tribes were at the head of the Turks.
Бұл 751 жыл болатын болса, 500 жылды кейінгі қарай шегеретін болсақ, сонда 250 жылдары Кипчак тайпалары түрік қағанаттарының басқарушысы деп айтуға болады.
Watch the next episode to learn more about the life of our ancestors in Mongolia. Next time, we will talk about the 2nd Turkic Kaghanate and its rulers. Outstanding personalities, Kultigin Batur, Bilge Kagan, and Tonikok Abayas.